Welcome back to Two Hosts, One Message. We are focusing on one specific moment in time, a sermon that was delivered on what he called a snowed-in Sunday. That was January 25, 2026.
Wow, a snowed-in Sunday. That already sets a scene.
It really does. The message is titled Faith for Every Forecast, and the subtitle is Living Ready When Life Keeps Changing.
Okay, Living Ready When Life Keeps Changing. That title alone, it does a lot of work right out of the gate. It just acknowledges how volatile life is.
It does, and this was from Pastor J. Anthony Dargan. This was actually part 4 of his sermon series, Living Ready.
So it's part of a larger conversation.
A 4-week journey through the book of 1 Thessalonians.
That's interesting context. Because 1 Thessalonians, that's a letter written to a community that was under a lot of pressure.
Oh.
They were dealing with persecution, confusion about the future, just instability. So a series on living ready just fits that text perfectly.
And Pastor J. Anthony, he didn't waste any time connecting the physical setting, that snowed-in day, to the spiritual reality. He said something right at the beginning that sets the stage.
What was that?
He said, "The same God who causes the sun to shine is the same God who covers the ground with snow."
That's a profound theological anchor right there. It establishes God's sovereignty over the whole forecast. It's easy to believe God's there for the summer picnic, right?
Of course.
But is he the same God in the blizzard? And Pastor J. Anthony is just saying, yes, the external conditions don't change who God is.
And that's really our mission for this Two Hosts, One Message session. We want to unpack how he encourages people to maintain that steadiness no matter what's happening outside the window. To do that, we have to look at the text he anchored it all in. 1 Thessalonians 5, verses 16 through 18.
The famous trio, rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances.
It's familiar, but the placement is what matters. The Apostle Paul he's shifting gears in the letter. In chapters 1 through 4, he's doing all this heavy theological lifting.
The theory class.
Exactly, the resurrection, the return of Christ, all the big doctrinal stuff. But here in chapter 5, he moves from what we believe to how we behave.
So it's the practical application.
He's basically saying, okay, if you believe all that stuff about the future, here is how you need to operate on a random Tuesday.
It's the so what of the letter. And this is where Pastor J. Anthony really leans in, this idea that we shouldn't let forecast determine our faith.
Which is hard. We are naturally reactive. We tend to mirror our environment. If it's stormy out, we feel anxious.
But he's calling for a disconnect there, a steadiness. And speaking of how to handle it when things get chaotic, he gave this amazing personal glimpse into his own home. He mentioned his wife, Lady Madeline.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, he and Lady Madeline have a saying for when things start popping off.
Start popping off. I think we all know what that feels like.
Yeah, when the stress hits, when the drama starts, they just look at each other and say, not today, Satan.
I love that. Short, punchy, decisive.
It is. It's like a verbal stiff arm to negativity. And he says every believer needs a rally cry like that. You need a declaration that just says, no matter what, it's going to be all right.
And you say that while the problem is happening, not after. That's the key.
Right. And to explain where he got this kind of resilience, because that doesn't just happen overnight, he took us back to his teenage years. He talked about the music that shaped him.
The soundtrack of his formation.
Yes. And it wasn't top 40. It was pure gospel. He listed his go-to songs, and the titles alone tell a story. He had God Has Smiled on Me, and Where is Your Faith in God?
Those are all about positioning.
Then there was If I Can Hold Out, and This Too Shall Pass.
If I can hold out. That implies there's something to endure. It's not about escaping the struggle. It's about outlasting it.
And my absolute favorite title on the list, Victory Shall Be Mine. And he quoted the lyric he would sing. He said, if I hold my peace, let the Lord fight my battles. I know that the victory shall be mine, victory shall be mine.
You know that lyric, if I hold my peace, that sets up his first major point perfectly. It connects directly to rejoice always.
Okay, let's unpack that first point. Rejoice always. Because I think a lot of people hear that and it sounds like denial. Like everything's on fire, but hey, I'm smiling.
Toxic positivity. But that's not what Pastor J. Anthony is describing at all. He defines rejoice as a theological stance, not just an emotion. And he used this amazing metaphor to explain it.
The lighthouse.
The lighthouse in the storm. Think about what a lighthouse does. When the storm hits, the lighthouse doesn't run out and try to stop the waves.
It can't change the weather?
Not one bit, but it keeps shining.
That's it.
Christian joy, in this context, is the lighthouse. It doesn't deny the storm is real. It just declares that the storm is not in charge. The light is still on.
The storm is not in charge.
I love that. So, okay, you have your stance. You're the lighthouse. But you need a power source, which leads to point 2. Pray continually.
Right, another one that trips people up. Pray continually sounds exhausting if you think prayer is just this formal, scheduled meeting.
Yeah, like I have to be on my knees 2:47. When do I sleep?
But he clarifies it's not about the duration, it's about the connection. He calls it a shared life with God, a lifeline, not just an emergency line.
He used a great illustration for this. He brought up a minister, Scott, and quoted some lyrics to get the idea across. Listen to this.
Okay.
Have a little talk with Jesus. Tell him all about our troubles. He will hear our faintest cry, and he will answer by and by.
A classic. But this next part really explains the continually aspect. Now, when you feel a little pray wheel turning, and you know a little fire is burning, you will find a little talk with Jesus makes it right.
When you feel a little pray wheel turning. That imagery is so evocative. It suggests this momentum. A wheel, it takes a little effort to get going, but once it's turning, it just keeps going. It generates heat, little fires burning.
It makes prayer feel dynamic, like an engine running in the background, not a task on a checklist.
Exactly.
So we have the stance, rejoice, always, the lighthouse. We have the connection, pray continually, the prayer wheel. Now we get to the third pillar, and this might be the hardest one. Give thanks in all circumstances.
This is where the theology gets really sharp. Pastor J. Anthony makes a distinction here that is, it's crucial. He points out that Paul said, give thanks in all circumstances, not for all circumstances.
That one word changes everything.
It does. You don't thank God for the car accident. You don't thank him for the sickness, but you thank him in the middle of it. You trust his presence while you're navigating the mess.
Trusting the who, not liking the what. And to explain how he got to that level of trust, he shared a story. It wasn't about theology, it was about his own history.
The bedroom decision.
Yes. He said, how I see God today isn't some new idea. He said, I made a decision more than 50 years ago in my childhood bedroom that Jesus would be my choice.
Wow. That's a foundational moment.
He told the Lord back then that when he reached the end of his life, he wanted to be able to say, Jesus is the best thing that ever happened to me.
And because that decision was made 5 decades ago, it acts like ballast in the boat.
Exactly. And the result of that long-term decision is that today he can say with confidence, I don't feel no way tired.
I don't feel no way tired. That's a statement of pure spiritual endurance. The wear and tear of life hasn't worn out his spirit.
And he's circled back to music again. It really seems to be the language he uses to process all of this. He described himself as a young boy just trying to figure out life, and he filled his heart with gospel music.
And who was at the top of that list?
James Cleveland.
Of course. The maestro.
He quoted a song called Make Me Better, and I have to read this because it's not a bless me prayer, it's asking for character. He would sing.
Okay.
If it takes all the worldly things from my life, make me better, Lord, please make me better. And if it means that I have a lot to sacrifice, make me better, please make me better.
That is a dangerous prayer. He is literally putting everything on the table in exchange for spiritual growth.
It gets even more intense. And if it means I have to fight with tear-stained eyes, make me better, Lord. Please make me better. Even if I falter when I try, I'll get up and go on if you make me strong, yay. Because I want to give you my best, and I'd only be hurting myself if I tried to give you less.
I'd only be hurting myself if I tried to give you less. That's such a mature insight. Holding back from God doesn't actually save you anything. It diminishes you.
And the bridge just brings it all home. And if the road will get rough, make me better, Lord. Please make me better. Because I'll go on just knowing that your grace will be enough to make me better, Lord. Please make me better.
It's accepting the rough road, provided that grace is there.
And then this climax. I want to be better than good enough. Because just being good won't be quite enough. Lord, make me ready to stand my test. I want to be better, Lord, to do my best. Make me better, Lord. Please make me better.
Make me ready to stand my test. That connects all the dots. Why rejoice? Why pray? Why give thanks? Not just to be a good person, but to be ready. To stand the test when the forecast inevitably changes.
And that leads right to his summary. Pastor J. Anthony says every single day he makes the choice to rejoice, to pray, and to give thanks. And why? For this is God's will for me in Christ Jesus.
And he dropped this final piece of wisdom that I think just sums up the entire message. He said, gratitude is not about where you are, it's It's about who is holding you there.
Who is holding you there? That just shifts your focus entirely. You stop looking at the location, the storm, the snow, and you look at the holder.
It's relational security in the middle of environmental chaos.
Now, in the service, this is where the transition happened. He painted the picture for us. He said, right about here, Kirk would be leaning towards saying, tag me in.
Tag me in. I love that. Like a relay race. The preacher has run his leg, and now he tags in the music to carry it home.
And the lyrics for the offering song he shared. It's the deep breath you need after that kind of challenge, he quoted. You don't have to worry and don't you be afraid, joy comes in the morning. Troubles, they don't last always. For there's a friend in Jesus who will wipe your tears away. And if your heart is broken, just lift your hands and say,
Go on.
Oh, I know that I can make it. I know that I can stand, no matter what may come my way. My life is in your hands. With Jesus I can take it. With him I know I can stand, no matter what may come my way. My life is in your hands.
My life is in your hands. It circles right back to the beginning. Faith for every forecast. Why? Because the forecast isn't holding your life. The snow isn't holding it. God is.
It's just such a complete journey, from that defiant, not today, Satan in the living room, to the make me better plea from childhood, to my life is in your hands in the sanctuary.
It's a masterclass in resilience. It takes this high-level theology and puts it right into the gritty reality of our lives. We don't have to fear the weather because we know the creator of the seasons.
So as we wrap this up, our two hosts, one message session, what are we really left with?
I think we're left with the question of focus. You can focus on the storm, or you can focus on being the lighthouse. You can look at the changing forecast, or you can look at the one who never changes.
And remember that final thought, gratitude is not about where you are.
It's about who is holding you there. That's the takeaway.
So for you, listening right now, whatever your personal forecast looks like this week, sunny skies or a blizzard, the question is, are you staring at the weather? Or are you busy keeping the light on?
You being the lighthouse.
Something to think about. Thank you for joining us for this special session. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
This week's Two Hosts, One Message reflects on Pastor J. Anthony Dargan's sermon, Faith for Every Forecast, Living Ready When Life Keeps Changing, based on 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 16 to 18, part 4 of the Living Ready series. Life can shift fast. The forecast can change without warning. But this word reminds us our faith isn't built on circumstances. It's built on a God who never changes. Rejoice always, pray continually, and give thanks in all circumstances. Not because everything feels good, but because God is still good. Catch the full sermon replay and live stream on Facebook at Congregational Church of God, NYC, on YouTube at CCOGNYC. But don't underestimate what happens when you're in the room. In-person worship gives you real connection, real covering, real encouragement, and an atmosphere of faith you can feel. So we invite you to join us Sundays at 10 a.m. at Congregational Church of God, 1889 Amsterdam Avenue, between West 153rd and 154th Streets, New York, New York. We can all use a midweek pick-me-up and midweek study on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Our spiritual development and deployment series is just for that purpose. Email us at CCOGNYC for Zoom information. Quick favor, help us reach 1,000 subscribers in 2026. Tap subscribe, then share this message with one person who needs faith for what's changing these days. Don't forget to support the work through giving so we can keep preaching hope, building disciples, and reaching souls. You can use PayPal or Zelle with our email address, ccognyc@aol.com. With Cash App, use our handle, $CCOGNYC. And finally, with Givelify, search for Congregational Church of God, 1889 Amsterdam Avenue, New York, New York, 10032. Stay ready, stay prayerful, stay thankful. Until next time, this is Two Hosts, One Message. Thanks for listening.